Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flix Show. My name is Chris Wong. This is episode 352 of the Ping Pong Flix Show, and let's get to it. This is a continuation, the whole Todd Phillips Joker story, in the way Todd Phillips is saying that this is coming from nothing from the comics. This is literally an original take on Joker, but this is via the Empire magazine. More of the article has come out, and this is about Todd Phillips pitching Joker to Warner Brothers executives at the after party of the War Dogs premiere. He suggested they begin a new division called DC Black, separating itself from the current crop of DC films. It was also a way of differentiating from Marvel. I said, let Joker be the first, and let's get effing great filmmakers to come in. Instead of trying to live in the shadow of the best MCU, let's do something they can't. This included $30 million budgets, no CGI hoopla. Let's strip that all away. It'll be liberating. The energy you get from an actor is different on 179th Street and Jerome Avenue in the Bronx than if we did that with green screen, which, by the way, I don't even know how to do like that, anything like that. There's not one green screen in this movie, says Phillips on filming in New York City. So, that's coming out, and so right there and then there it kind of tells you the direction that Warner Brothers is heading in now, in terms of their smaller films, right? The thing that really stood out to me is him trying to say, let's differentiate ourselves from Marvel, and I'm like, didn't we do that? Didn't Zack Snyder do that? Differentiate us from Marvel? I mean, that Justice League was the most Marvel movie that DC ever put out. And the others, like especially like Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, that was differentiating from Marvel. So I don't know where his words are coming from, but I guess he wanted to go into the more extreme where it's kind of like it's using a comic book character, making original takes, doing some kind of a different take, a non-comic booky take on a comic book material. And this also included very small budgets, $30 million budgets, no CGI. And I think that works for smaller films like, say, Joker and possibly Birds of Prey and possibly even Suicide Squad, which we're going to talk about. Even the Batman for the most part. But we can't just keep doing that. I think there are some cases where there's giant comic book stories that need to be told with giant CGI and giant budgets, but it doesn't have to be living up to MCU. We can totally do that, a different way of storytelling that doesn't mimic the MCU. The DCEU doesn't have to be the MCU, but they could still hold those big budgets. I don't understand the concept of they're thinking that big budget CGI would automatically equate to MCU, and I think that's a wrong way of thinking. I think they should deter from that. I think they should take those risks in any case. I mean, you don't see us going like, okay, look at I don't know what's an Avatar, and they calling that an MCU film just because it had a lot of CGI. Where a Star Wars is not an MCU film because it has a lot of CGI. We have all these other. Alita is not an MCU film. It has a lot of CGI. If we're afraid to go that route and think that people are gonna constantly feel like people are gonna constantly judge the company for being an MCU film, then you're never gonna get past that, right? You just gotta make it. You just gotta do it, and you just gotta have the guts to go in a direction that's not the same as the MCU, but still willing to put the budget out there to make it fantastic. So I'm hoping this doesn't spell in a way kind of like pushing back. That's why they never got with the Christopher McQuarrie thing about Superman and Green Lantern. They're only throwing out like the Trench. They're doing like Aquaman 2 for sure, but that's a little bit further down. Wonder Woman 1984 is already almost pretty much done, and maybe those aren't even heavy CGI type of movies either. It's like they're so scared of it now, and it's possibly the Endgame kind of killed that momentum. But if they're, I am very disappointed. I would be very disappointed if they aren't willing to take those risks once again to those giant epic movies that the DC universe actually have within their cards. They have the smaller films, and we are getting smaller films. We are really getting smaller budget films from here on out. And so I'm hoping that they're going to tap into the larger budget films, not be afraid to get into those CGI heavy fest. Hopefully New Gods is incredible. Hopefully, they finally do the Green Lantern Corps, what that Flash movie is like, and, another Justice League movie, So I'm hoping this doesn't spell towards the way that it may, seeing that they're like, oh, okay, maybe we just make smaller films, like the horror movies, like the independent films, smaller budgets, make a lot of gross profit money off of it, and then play it safe. Just play it safe, not even trying too hard, trying to make some giant blockbuster. And I think that is reason to be worried about for the DCEU. But, still hoping they're going to have a lot. I mean, they're still making, Black Adam, Shazam 2. I don't know what the budgets are for those. And Wonder Woman 1984 is probably one of the bigger budgets, I think, of all the movies that are coming out, DC movies that are coming out in the timeline. Because, Aquaman 2 hasn't been placed yet, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And, if Joker doesn't do good, then, they're going to start rethinking it again. I don't know. But because if Joker doesn't do good, it might not affect the rest of the universe because it's its own thing. It's a experimental movie that they want to try out, and it was a good story and stuff. But if that doesn't work out, they can just well, that wasn't part of it. That was a DC Black label, right? And that's where the DC Black came from. It's from this little conversation that Todd Phillips had with him. So if that doesn't work out, you just throw it on the side. If the Batman DC Black doesn't work out, well, it's not part of the universe. So I guess they have those safety networks in play with that. But I'm still hoping for those bigger budget blockbuster films. That, for me, is one of the big reasons to watch it in the theater. The big noises, the big sounds, the larger screen formats. And then, and then for the times that I want to see a smaller film, there's a lot of content in the DC universe that can fulfill those needs as well. So it's very diverse in the way a lot of variety types of movies that DC can put out. Since I'm talking about Joker, let's talk about Batman for a second. Justin Shanlian, Batman Shanlian. I guess I've heard he has some connections in the studios and stuff like that. He talks to a bunch of people. I don't know how many followers. He's got 2,200 followers. But he's the founder of Shanlian on Bat Podcast, All Things Batman. Okay, so... And he likes Zack Snyder's Ben Affleck's Batman, so that's cool. But he tweeted this out today. Oh my God, when you hear them announce one of the many villains that will be in the Batman, your head will explode. Can't believe I'm going to see a live action version of this character. And mind blown emotes. A character not yet announced, said Geek Vibes Nation. There are a lot of responses here on what that character could be, including Clayman, Clayface. Why did I say Clayman? Clayface or Man-Bat, although I thought we kind of saw Man-Bat in BVS, but, Mad Hatter is another one. Even Hush. Firefly, I guess... Well, we saw a live action Firefly. So it gives you wondering. It's got to be something he said not live. I'm going to see a live action version of this character. So out of them, I would say, Clayface. But that would be pretty interesting if it's a CGI heavy character. Clayface or... I guess Man-Bat, if you really didn't count that nightmare that Batman had in BVS as a live-action version. Although I thought Gotham had covered a lot of these live-action villains. But Hush is also another one. So that kind of narrows it down because, we've seen Riddler. We've seen Penguin. We've seen, Bane. We've seen a lot of these villains, that are live action versions of them already. So for Justin Challian, who is a huge Batman fan, he is really hinting here and who this villain may be. Is going to see a live action version of this character and blowing his mind. So it's got to be something that's pretty extreme out there. And I can't imagine what it could be. Clayface seems like I think Clayface is the only live action I've never seen, because yeah, I think that may be. I'm not sure, but I mean, if you know, let me know down in the comments below which live action version of Batman's villain rogues gallery have we not seen ever. So, and then we can maybe from there tell what that villain is, or put in, who do you think this other villain that hasn't been really announced for the Batman, and who could that be in this new Matt Reeves The Batman trilogy. So yeah, let me know. Going alongside that, there's been a breaking news today. It's an exclusive from the Wrap. Storm Reid now eyed to play Idris Elba's daughter in the Suicide Squad sequel. This is exclusive coming from Berto Gonzalez from the Wrap. And other media sites has also confirmed it as well, including Boris Kidd over The Hollywood Reporter, Thomas Bolito as well, Geeks Worldwide Nation. So here's the article. A Wrinkle in Time headliner Storm Reid is being eyed to star as the daughter of Idris Elba's character in James Gunn's sequel to 2016's Suicide Squad. Multiple individuals with knowledge of the project exclusively tell the Wrap. Although there is currently no deal in place, Reid is the top contender for the role. Details about the role are being kept under wraps. The film, which is also called Suicide Squad, will hit theaters on August 6th of 2021. Peter Safran and Charles Roven are producing. Gunn, who directed Guardians of the Galaxy, was brought on board to helm the project. He also wrote the script and will have a completely new take on the property, in which DC supervillains are recruited by the government to carry out secret missions too dirty for the likes of Superman and Batman. The first Suicide Squad grossed $325 million domestically and almost $750 million worldwide. Although it was mostly panned by critics, it was directed and written by David Ayer and starred Will Smith, Margot Robbie, Viola Davis, Jared Leto, Ezra Miller, well, it was a cameo, Jai Courtney, Jay Hernandez, Cara Delevingne, and Joel Kinnaman. As first reported by The Wrap, Oscar, Tony, and Emmy Award winner Davis will return as Amanda Waller in the sequel. So there's that. So they still don't know who Idris Elba's character is going to be, but a lot of people are saying it's going to be Bronze Tiger, and not Deadshot, because they're still trying to hold out that maybe Will Smith can come back as Deadshot, perhaps, who knows. But in this article, they are saying it's a sequel, and which we kind of felt like it's a sequel, but I don't know why some execs kept saying it's not a sequel. And then another exec saying it is a sequel, so it's very weird. But a lot of the original cast is coming back for it, including Viola Davis, and we also heard Jai Courtney and Joel Kinnaman, and of course Margot Robbie as well. So interesting things about this Suicide Squad is very curious, and I'm wondering how big this movie is going to be, if at all. It sounds like a small movie. It sounds like one of those lower budget films that DC's been putting out of late in order to capture a lot more of the box office. But who knows? And we'll have to see what happens with this movie, Suicide Squad, in this sequel, and how successful this will be in comparison to David Ayer's Suicide Squad, or how connected it actually would be to David Ayer's Suicide Squad, despite the fact that a lot of the actors and actresses are returning as their respective roles. So that is it for the news. Pretty much very simple, straightforward, just a couple things between the Joker, Batman, and Suicide Squad. And then there's one thing. I want to put this at the end. This is a huge rumor. I was debating on doing a tinfoil, but I mean, this is a very, it's a huge rumor, and I'm not going to have time to do a tinfoil, but this is something that you should really, I don't think we really should believe in it, but it would be a scenario that I would feel could happen. Not saying it will happen or anything, but in terms of what I want to know, what's your thoughts on if this is what Warner Brothers would do. So there's been a couple people who had messaged rumors, and I don't know where to extend from. One is from Lois Centeno, another from this. I forgot where the other tweet is. Several people had said the same rumor, so I don't know where it's coming from. But they're saying it's a rumor that Warner Brothers may put the Snyder Cut on Warner Brothers streaming. They may offer the Snyder Cut if you sign 3 months contract to maximize their profits and release it on DVD. Major money, real smart if Warner Brothers does that. Warner Brothers may put this Snyder Cut as a Snyder Trilogy package with Man of Steel and BVS. They may add 20 minutes of unseen footage in Man of Steel and another 30 minutes on BVS, making it a 3.5-hour movie. Zack shot 4 hours of context for BVS. And also, Justice League is Snyder Cut will come out as well. And so just looking, it's a huge rumor. It's probably not true, but it's interesting when he says if you sign up for 3 months of contract to maximize the profit. So, I mean, I would want to discuss how that would actually acquire. So if Warner Brothers did decide to say, hey, let's put in a Warner Brothers streaming service, and maybe, how some streaming services have, or even like PlayStation Plus, where you got the 1 month contract, you got the 3 month contract, 6 month, or does it go straight to a year? So it's broken out depending on what contract you use, and you get a little bit more perks. So it's interesting that they said this, like 3 months contract, and then you can get the Snyder Cut. I mean, that's like, wow, that's really them really heading home. And I would definitely pay that, knowing full well that I would get the Snyder Cut, because why not? 3 months. What is that? $15 a month. I don't know my math, but essentially almost $50. That would work out. I think I would definitely pay that. That would be some type of Ultimate Edition price of Ultimate DVD, and I can watch it over and over. Why not? I would love to do that. I would love that to happen. The other part where it's like a trilogy package, that even sounds more extreme. I don't know if they'll do that, because essentially Man of Steel was kind of Zack Snyder's version, he said. Although there was unseen footage in that, and possibly in BVS there's definitely unseen footage in that. But I mean, if they were to release that means Zack Snyder would have said, this is my cut. But he did the director's cut of BVS. He felt Ultimate Edition is his cut, as he played it at the SnyderCon. So I don't know about that part of this whole rumor. But I like the part about the Warner Media streaming service, and it just makes sense. And it's probably because of all the conversation we're having in terms of Warner Media service, and want to just throw it on a streaming service if you're not going to put money into putting it in theaters. I would, however, love it to put it in theaters, and because it adds to the Justice League, and it actually recoups it in a way. But they have to finish. People claim they have to finish it and stuff like that. So who knows about that? But I think the easiest and probably most efficient way to release it would be on the Warner Brothers Warner Media streaming service. And the whole point of different months of contracts, that it's a possibility if they're going to try to tap into that. Not saying that this is true at all, but just like thinking about the logistics of if something like this were to happen, having that those options out there where it's 1 month, $15, you get most of the DC universe and stuff like that, You get 3 months. You get a little bit more. It's a little bit more bonuses when you sign that first 3 months contract, and you get the Snyder Cut. You get these whole bunch of other stuff. Maybe you get director's cuts for different types of movies as well from Warner Brothers, anything like that. They could really expand on that, and I think that could work out. I think that would actually maximize their profits a little bit, and then once they make money off of that, then they could release it on Blu-ray and DVD and stuff like that. I could totally see Warner Brothers thinking in that type of way. But like I said before, I mean, a lot of this is not really about money in any case. It's really about ego, and one ego is about Toby Emmerich. So once they get that out of the way, and I think once they do, and once they all see, including Ann Sarnoff, who sees, or whoever is going to be the DC president here or not, or Walter Hamada, whoever is going to be managing Warner Media, Warner Brothers, and DC Films, having them look at that and say, hey, I could make money off the Snyder Cut. Let's look at our options. When that conversation comes up, and if it's come up or not at all, who knows? But once that conversation comes up, then we're in a better situation than before Toby Emmerich will leave, right? So if Toby Emmerich's there, I think those conversations are very minimal, and he's gonna fight to keep those conversations away from the table. But once he's gone, I think they can really open it up, in hopes that they are on the side of getting the Snyder Cut release. And as a business sense, I don't see why not. As a business sense, you really got to see Snyder Cut as a way of making more profits on material and content that's almost done or done. I don't care. It's mostly, or it's there. It's already exists, and you can make money on it. For a business, you have to look at that and think about the money rather than the ego. So that is that for today. I'm going to be pretty busy tomorrow, so there may or may not be an episode tomorrow, but we'll see. We'll play it by ear. But until then, thank you so much for subscribing, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.